blood ritual. Vegan. We'll get some of that weird fake meat and bleed it out. This guy is from many places. I asked him where he's from. He gave me about 5 different countries, and I was like, oh, I get it, bro. I used to be on the run as well. So he is a vlogger. You're into that stuff. And he is a digital entrepreneur. He might be a slumlord on Decentraland. I don't know. You want to find out? Yeah. Me too. Please, welcome to the stage, the man, the myth, the legend. Guys, give it up. One word name like Prince for Sam.
Cheers, guys. Thank you for opening up this space. I want to get you guys to clap one more time, this time for yourselves, appreciating yourself for coming here, opening up your mind to new beliefs and new perspectives. And I'm going to share why that's important. But let's have some gratitude for allowing yourself to expand your mind today. The only people who have lost money in Bitcoin on this day have been those who have sold. And they may have sold because their belief was not strong enough to weather the emotion, the panic that will inevitably arise as you're putting part of your energy, part of yourself into essentially what is your beliefs. Everything is defined in that. So 24 hours ago I was presented with this opportunity to share and to chat. So I do want this to be a chat. I'm going to be asking you guys questions. From the chats that I've had so far, we have absolute beginners and we have super advanced. So I think the way that we manage this overwhelming amount of information is to start with some vocabulary. We're going to cover the basics. Don't worry, if you're an aping degen, we're going to take it into the cosmos as we progress, but I'd like to start in the beginning, and that's some basic vocabulary. And I'd like your help to do that. So what is the blockchain? Does anyone have a definition of what is the blockchain? Or distributed ledger technology, DLT. Who has a definition for us?
Timestamp server.
A timestamp server. Okay. Do the beginners understand that? Can you begin to see this world that we're painting? What else? What do we got to make it really simple? We're speaking to someone who has no interaction with crypto or the digital environment.
Database.
A database, good one. A database that's in public, right? That everyone can access from some type of terminal.
A place where you can store files, like medical records, things.
Yes, you can store information. It is a chain of numbers that can be accessed in a distributed way from across the world. It's beginning to bind the map with the territory. The history is now becoming immutable. Immutable means it's unchangeable. Blockchain technology allows us to create history in an unchangeable way. That hasn't happened before. We're entering the unknown. And that's why we're going to have these chats. That's why these chats are so important, because we're entering the unknown and one perspective is not enough. So I aim to be providing value from my perspective that I've had over the last couple of years. Let's go NFTs. NFTs have been mentioned a couple of times. What is an NFT? Non-fungible token. It's a token.
Sure. Non-fungibility is effectively the idea that you can't split something into residual parts that build up to the main thing. So fungibility would be like a dollar, you can split into 4 quarters. Non-fungibility implies like a part.
Yep. It cannot be replicated. It's one of a kind. And it's usually sitting on top of a blockchain. Remember that chain of blocks that is becoming unchangeable? NFTs are a way for us to have a little piece on that chain and we can own it and no one else has that. A cryptocurrency or a crypto token is also built on that chain, but that one can be replicated. Depending on their tokenomics, the economies of that token have been programmed That depends on how many people can own it, how many tokens there are, if the tokens get burned, destroyed, or whether they can replicate, whether you can change with them. They get to define an entire new economy, an entire new ecosystem on top of the chains. So from there, let's go into what other words do we need to know? Let's go to what is the shitcoin?
Capital.
What is the shitcoin? What is it? I mean,
Everything except Bitcoin.
that's what a Bitcoin maxi would say. So a Bitcoin maxi is someone who would say Bitcoin is the only true blockchain. Everything will be built on top of that digital infrastructure, that particular chain. But things like DOT and Ethereum have different ideas. Cosmos and DOT are building for a multi-chain world. Personally, my perspective is that we are going towards a multi-chain world, and therefore some of the other coins that are not Bitcoin are not shit coins, but they are altcoins, alternative coins, where there might be various things unfolding. So what about, let's go to the attention economy. I think this is going to be a big one to understand, to go where we're going next. What is the attention economy? Maybe some of you have seen the documentary Social Dilemma. They've used that term in that. Does anyone have a definition of the attention economy?
Money for time.
Money for time. Time of attention. The value of Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. How is that value determined? Primarily monthly active users. The amount of time that these platforms host, monetize, the amount of time they monetize determines their value, their ability to sell advertising, their ability to make profits, to make money. That is the attention economy. Every time, if you were to look at your usage on your phone during the day, that is how much time and energy you have invested into the attention economy. Where have you invested that? Have you invested it in a Web 2.0 platform such as Instagram, such as YouTube, Facebook? Web 2.0 technology that is not built on the blockchain. It is built on private servers. It's not in a public arena, right? The companies that were first to market with strong technology had a first mover advantage to get a lot of our time, a lot of our attention. But it's changing. Our belief is changing, and the technology is now able to provide ways for us to turn our beliefs into reality. And that's what's happening. So I'd like to give some context before we start shooting off here. My name's Sam. I'm Australian, American, Canadian. I kind of grew up in between countries. I ended up on a motorbike traveling from Canada to Argentina. Found myself in Colombia, where I've been living for the past 11 years. And I got into real estate because I saw that no matter what business people were in, they always had wealth in real estate. And I wanted to learn what real estate was. So I applied a great methodology to learn, but also to connect with people in the attention economy. And that's called SEO, Search Engine Optimization. This is 2012. I began writing articles that people had expressed intention. They were looking for information in this attention economy. They were looking for information. I wrote articles that were worthy of their attention, and I started writing about real estate, the things that I'm learning, helping foreigners invest in real estate in Colombia. We went from a blog to a brokerage to a startup to eventually, and its final demise during the pandemic, a corporation. And there are a variety of factors why that was, but one of the most, I think, relevant for where we're going in this chat is when we got a board of directors, there were very expensive lawyers that were dedicated to evolving contracts, to just changing the contracts in their favor. What about smart contracts? Have you heard of smart contracts? Who's got a definition for me for smart contracts?
So it's contracts which exist on the blockchain. I think most notably or most heard about it is the one for Ethereum. So most notably, like, for example, an artist might sell a piece on the primary market, which is like the first time that they sell it to someone, and then on the secondary market, which is when the buyer sells it to a new buyer, it's written into a smart contract which exists in the ledger. That like the original artist will receive 15% or a defined percentage of that transaction, and it's a way to sort of safeguard artists, especially in the NFT world, to continue to get payment for their work.
Brilliant, excellent example. It's a contract that's coded in, and as the NFT, that scarce token moves from one buyer to the next. Can each buyer change the contract? They cannot, right? It's an immutable contract. It's a contract that says it's a contract that does what it says it's going to do. And to me, as someone who experienced, a board of directors that started not doing what the contract was saying, for me, this is what I'm looking for in this digital attention economy, in this digital environment that is housing the greatest transfer of wealth this planet has ever seen. So in this company, I started making videos. It was 2016. Gary Vee was getting out there. Ty Lopez was playing basketball on his tennis court in a mansion he was sharing his knowledge from his garage. Grant Cardone started pumping hard up with content on social media. And as someone who was forming part of this company, I saw an opportunity in video because I saw this attention economy forming. I saw people who were making content that was valuable to an audience and building very large businesses on the top of that. I didn't want to do it at first. I asked my partners, hey, we need to do a video. You'd be great on video. You should do it. And eventually got to the point where I had to make a decision that I wasn't going to let my fears define my dreams. And I stopped caring by accepting that people are going to think an infinite number of things, but I'm not going to let that get in the way of what I want. So I started making videos, I uploaded vlogs, I consistently put up content that was speaking to an audience, looking for people to invest in our projects. We were basically crowdfunding Airbnb properties, creating passive income real estate investments, because investors, I think, they value the most their time. And so our product allowed people to identify a property, develop it, furnish it, and begin renting it out for higher yields on the short-term rental market completely passively. So it was a very strong offer to investors. I would make content that they were interested in, and I would make content that the guests who were going to stay in those properties. I rode around on my motorbike with a drone around Colombia. We expanded into Puerto Rico and Portugal, and I made videos that caught on. I got 15 million views. We raised tens of millions of dollars for that company. We grew very well because of that. And I think at the core of what I was doing, I was updating people's perspectives and aligning it closer to reality. Everyone at that time, most English speakers at that time, especially 2010, Colombia had been very isolated for its dramatic history. There are a lot of similarities to Tulum, to Mexico, by the way. If you enjoyed Tulum, I would highly recommend Palomino and Minca that are very close to Santa Marta in Colombia. A little bit of travel recommendations there. And what happened was I started creating content that got attention in the attention economy and built a business on top of it. Now that's gone. Now I'm going to search for smart contracts that do what they say they're going to do. I've found that in various passive income investments. I was dollar cost averaging into a basket of currencies which I recommend is the most stable way to enter a very volatile crypto market. Every month, every paycheck, you're designating 10, 20, depending on your belief, you're allocating these investments into projects that you believe are going to be around in the future. Because I think the value of each one of these cryptos is determined by, is the next guy going to be willing to pay more than I am? Essentially, that's why the price is increasing. That's true in real estate, that's true in every product and service. If any product that the next guy is willing to pay more for, the price is increasing, and that's where you have supply and demand playing out. So now I'd like to get to a perspective that I believe will provide value to each and every one of you, to see the infinite amount of opportunities and to be able to do what you need to do to believe yourself or outsource your belief. If you're waiting for the moment that you are going to believe 100% in what a crypto is, how it works, how the network is configured, what is the exact code, you're going to have to learn programming, you're going to have to learn how to build your own keyboard to make sure there's no keylogger on there. At some point, you're going to have to outsource your belief. And when we're talking about DOT, right, we're talking about, okay, the hedge funds believe in that, and therefore they're worthy of my belief as well. So I'm going to show you how you can start identifying what kind of things you want to believe in, because as we collectively believe in the same tokens, we're believing and creating and expanding the infrastructure of the future of our civilization. And I don't say that lightly. This is real, it's happening. The old system is disintegrating, it's dissolving as the parallel system is being created, and exponentially it's growing from what? Our attention, our belief. So because I've spent the last 5 years taking people on adventures into the physical unknown on a motorbike and with a drone, right, on YouTube vlogs, I'm now beginning a new adventure into the digital unknown. And I'm doing it vertical. Why? Because TikTok just overtook YouTube for the most attention on our planet today. So I am entering a collective conversation. The movement of our attention right now is towards vertical. So why would I focus my attention on horizontal? There may be opportunities in horizontal, and I still plan to do some YouTube, but my focus is on the vertical. The perspective that I've come up with to take absolute beginners and very advanced degens to the same place is using an analogy. And I don't share this analogy to convince you of anything. It's a perspective that may help you reflect on your own vision of what is happening. I believe we are creating a digital civilization. And if you've been around Mexico, if you've been around Colombia, you'll see that towns begin in the town square. And there's usually one type of property at the front and center of that square. What would that be? What? The church. Why does the church have the front and center prime real estate in every one of these civilizations? Is that because we naturally found our communities, our networks with what we believe in? I don't know, but I've chosen that to begin our visualization. Your town square, the center of what you're going to build in your mind, is going to be centered around your intention. If you do not enter the digital unknown with intention, you will be intended upon. They have figured out our primal triggers. They have figured out how to trigger our attention with little orange and red notifications that look exactly like a cherry in the jungle. They're triggering very, very primally what we want, what we're looking for, how to vibrate, how to flash to get our attention. If you do not enter the digital unknown with intention, you will be intended upon. So declare your intention. What are you seeking? Otherwise, you will be scrolling. So with our intention in place, we can then begin to imagine the rest of our civilization. The size of the buildings in this civilization are dependent on how many people are investing their attention. The attention is the electricity in this civilization. It is giving life and size to each one of these institutions. There's almost 3 billion users on Facebook right now. There is a massive Facebook institution that is in our collective digital civilization. And this is where we're gonna have to go out. We're gonna start getting a little Tulum. We're gonna get a little bit philosophical. We have a personal imagination of this civilization, but we also have a collective imagination in each one of us. Some may be trading, some may be on social media, some may be building businesses, some may be just talking with mom. Whatever it is, we're all carving out different civilizations. But the more points, the more brands, the more cryptos that we have in common, the larger these institutions get. So Facebook for me has turned into, I look around, I see how everyone's using Facebook. To me, it appears like that's become our phone book. It's the white pages and the yellow pages, right? Every person is in there, every business is in there, but it's some type of dynamic phone book. LinkedIn, that's the conference center. That one's easy. That's where everyone's putting on a suit and going to act professional like they would in the office. Instagram, to me, I think that's the lounge. I think you're allowed to dress up there, maybe talk a little bit of business. What else? Twitter. Twitter for me is a megaphone in the town square. Some of us have smaller megaphones. Some of us have a bigger one. Some of us have 40 million, people listening to our megaphone. Twitter is where you can go and shout something into the ether and maybe resonate with somebody. What else is there? What have I missed? TikTok. Yeah, that's the blue light disco, right? TikTok, I believe, is the superior meme creation app that's in use at the moment. Now, what do I mean by meme? And that's actually one of the critical vocabularies that I'd like to clarify here. What is a meme? What is a meme? Do we know? Yeah.
A notion or an idea that is able to be replicated and built upon, and then at a certain point it just becomes society as a result of that.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. I agree with that perspective. There's various definitions of memes, and I think this is one of the most powerful things that you might take away from this chat. Memes, I believe, are the most universal, most widely understood, and concise form of communication that we have on this planet. It's understood by the most amount of people, and it is the most efficient way to spread an idea, a message, a story. What form do memes take? So genes can meme, they basically replicate and expand and grow. On the internet, we're seeing now as the amount of as the attention economy moves towards TikTok. We look at, okay, what is TikTok? It's this disco where people seem to be dancing a lot more than they did on Instagram. TikTok is a tool that is combining sound, popular music, very catchy music that hooks into your mind. Visual, you've got some visual movement, and you've got text. That's what a meme in this digital civilization is. It is some type of combination of text, image, and sound. If you've ever uploaded an Instagram story, you have spoken meme. You have meme spoke, whatever it is. This is the language that we are using in this attention economy. We haven't defined it yet. The sooner we can define it, the sooner we can see what's happening, and then we can react appropriately to that. How many memes did we consume today? How many memes did we create today? Which memes did we replicate today? Which memes did we receive but not replicate? How many memes did we consume that were not in line with our intention? How many memes did we create to fulfill our intention? Memes are the most concise and universal form of communication that we have on this planet today. If I am incorrect, if I am off on that, please correct me. I am just sharing my perspective. I'm just continuing to say that to more and more people until somebody tells me I'm wrong. To this day, nobody has told me that that is an incorrect definition of what is happening right now. So that is the language that we're starting to imagine as I'm building out this map of the digital civilization and understanding how we are collectively building these institutions in our mind. I'm putting some signposts down, which I believe are just some fundamental ideas that we should all consider, right? Like signs where we kind of share that are important, right? Don't throw the toilet paper in the toilet. Whatever's important to the environment, we put up signs. So I've put up some signs that I'd like to share. Tell me why they're not right or agree with them. I don't know. These are things that I've seen in my perspective that I think are valuable to understand as we perceive what's happening in crypto. The longest, the strongest, and the biggest beliefs that we have are becoming the most valuable. Bitcoin, there's only 21 million of them. That is the story. The story of Bitcoin started as it's a peer-to-peer cash system. It's going to be traded, right? That was the original story of Bitcoin in the Satoshi white paper, the guy who originally conceived it. Right now, the story that people are believing is that Bitcoin is a store of value. And they believe it hard, and that's an easy one to believe. There's only 21 million of them. But how many people have wallets? Oh, there's I think there's 70 million crypto wallets right now. Surely everyone, how much are they willing to pay? How much value do they think they're getting there? The value of Bitcoin is being defined by our belief. The strength of your belief is going to determine whether on the next dip you're going to sell or whether you're going to hold. And in this digital environment, there's a saying that the people who actually make money are the founders and the holders, right? The only people who have lost money in Bitcoin are those who have faltered on their beliefs or they've attempted to time the market. Again, time in the market, dollar cost averaging is the most stable way to enter investments into this platform. If you'd like to avoid too much speculation, you could stay in Bitcoin and Ethereum. There are such a quantity of people who are believing in these cryptos, and they're not unbelieving. Look around. Who's unbelieving? Oh yeah, no, I thought about Bitcoin for a while, and no, I don't see its value. I've understood it more and more, and I'm like, no, that's not valuable. That's not happening. People are not unbelieving those ones. So let's say dot. We're on dot. I appreciate that alpha information very early on in terms of, okay, there's a team getting together, they're programming. Sometimes they're in their bedroom, sometimes they actually use an office. The future of our financial system is potentially being programmed in someone's bedroom right now. If you guys want to, let's go to the financial area. Let's go to the financial part of town. How to make money. Marketplaces transfer wealth from the patient to the impatient. If you are trying to time the market, you're going to get jibbed. Watch out there. finance, which has traditionally been done in databases that are privately held and opaque, you can't see in them, you can't see them happening. There are now databases, there are now contracts, there are now markets that you can invest in with transparency. Keep in mind, in the digital, everything can vanish. Everything can vanish instantly. So I believe there's a chat coming up about security and safety. Take it seriously and diversify. I think the way to diversify from crypto, potentially real estate, would be an asset class that has withstood various challenges. And I think crypto is in its very early stages is going to go through all types of challenges that are going to challenge your belief, different types of regulation. But I think what's happening is now inevitable, and so I'd like to wrap it up from here. I'd like to hand it over to questions. I'd like to invite you to begin going on these adventures into the unknown, to begin understanding that your beliefs are going to determine how much you invest in. It's our collective beliefs that is going to be funding and investing in incredible new ways to live together. Because when a business can be copy and pasted, and a lot of these cryptos are able to be copy and pasted. These are organizations that have complete transparency, and their entire business model can be copy and pasted. That's why I believe NFTs have gotten a lot of attention, because you can't copy and paste art, right? Businesses are going to enter a competitive environment that is, they're going to be more vulnerable than ever to people copying them. What is going to maintain their value in the long term? It's going to be their community. It's going to be the people that actually use that code. How many people believe in the utility of that code? How many people believe together? How strong is their belief? How long are they going to hold? Consider the function of staking. When you stake, you say for 2 years you're not able to sell. That protects the price. You just said, I'm not going to sell for 2 years. The next guy comes along, hey, there's a million people. They're not going to sell for X amount of years. If you've got any questions related to Hex and the upcoming Pulse chain, it's a cryptocurrency that has replaced one particular product in the financial system, which is called a certificate of deposit. You say you're not going to touch an X amount of money for a period of time, and the bank will pay you on average 0.6 to 1% interest per year on that deposit. Hex is a finished product. This is a product that sits on the 2019 block. It sits on the 2019 block of the Ethereum blockchain. So it's a finished product. It's not evolving. It's not a team that is selling a vision of the future and getting hundreds of millions of dollars of belief, of valuation because of their big vision. It's a product that is already finished. And that's why I've enjoyed putting my long-term strategy into Hex, because I've been able to mentally free myself from the emotional ups and downs that can get in a way of your beliefs. So I've made a contract on the 2019 Ethereum blockchain for an X amount of money that I will not touch it for 5,555 days. I've made a contract that's not going to change. If I try to sell in 5 years, I'm going to get penalized. That money is distributed from there. It's a product that allows you to make a contract with yourself based on the time that you're willing to store that energy and protect the price. So that's one example of a product that's being implemented in the decentralized finance kind of area of town. Last year, we've gone through a DeFi, a decentralized finance hype cycle, when our attention has speculated and hyped about a particular function or area of this digital town, the financial district, This year we've seen the art district get a lot of hype, right? NFTs, it's all about NFTs, that's the key. I believe that's gonna make me money. Oh, I believe it's going down, so I'm gonna sell it because I don't wanna lose money. The people who are holding, they believe that this is a blue chip art piece that will be valuable in 20 years. They've held, and they're going to continue to do well because they've got very long beliefs. So right now I'm checking out DeFi 2.0. I'm going deep into Twitter and Telegram because that is where crypto communities are starting. I would also add Discord onto that. Think about the people who are programming. Think about the people that you could believe. Think about the people who are so deep inside of this, like some of the experts that are talking. Learn from them. Open up your mind to them. I'm using Twitter to, at the moment, follow Daniel E. Sesta on Twitter to go into DeFi 2.0. I think they're very ambitious. It satisfies that desire in me to look for that short-term, instant gratification reward, investing and getting for those quick gains. I'm looking for brilliant ideas that have huge potential to grow. And to do that, I have to go off the main exchanges, I have to go onto Twitter, I have to get to people at the source to understand what they believe, why they believe it, do they have the team, do they have the ability to pull it off? How believable is their story? How early is their story? Has this story just started to evolve and then the inner group is starting to meme about it and it has potential to grow? Those are the things that I'm looking for. That's how I've 20x'd my portfolio in the last 2 years. Identifying stories very early on. I'm not trading daily. I'm looking at coins that I can believe for a very long time, that I'm starting to hear rumors about, that I believe in the potential of that story. And I'm grabbing a bag. So that's it. That's kind of my perspective. That's my short-term strategy. I've shared my long-term strategy. Thanks for listening.
Thank you. What's your
Any
Instagram?
questions?
What's your
Oh,
Instagram?
yeah, if you guys want to follow along for these digital adventures, you can find me on Instagram, sammiller.life. That's probably the best spot. So any questions about that? Any adventures into the digital unknown that you'd like to share? Yeah.
You spoke a little bit about real estate.
Yeah.
Where do you see opportunity merging real estate with the tokenization?
Yeah.
Like maybe the staking on the dividends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, big time. So we're starting to see infinite opportunity, right? So real estate has been one I'm really paying attention to. There's a couple groups who have had a vision to fractionalize real estate, right? To turn every square meter of a building into an NFT. There's only one of a kind of these meters, and you're going to be able to own 1 meter of a very large building that is generating rental income, and you'll be paid dividends. You'll be paid rental income based on your ownership, your percentage. There's various groups going. I'm keeping an eye out for who's going to take the lead. I've seen Realty, I've seen Labs. I haven't, as the digital environment merges with the physical, there's friction, right? Pure digital projects can grow very fast, but when you're trying to innovate in an industry like real estate, you're dealing with non-digital laws and escrituras in Colombia. The deed is an escritura. It's sitting in a filing cabinet in an old building on the other side of town. To try to get ownership from a tokenized standpoint of antiquated systems, it's a bit of a challenge. So I see it's going to be slower. Another part of real estate that I really think we might see some innovation in a very big way is the way we manage administration. In Latin America especially, it's very common to buy your apartment and you pay the HOA, the condo fees. Because the books are closed, like this industry is notorious for corruption, for finances, that every apartment owner is contributing for the good of the building become lost. So I expect to see whether it's some type of DAO, which is a decentralized autonomous organization, a way to transparently operate an organization and funds in that organization based on you owning an apartment, you have voting rights for what happens. I expect to see some big innovation in that part. So at the moment, I'm just keeping an eye on it and I'm looking to see how it happens. I think it's already happening in different ways in different parts of the world. But yeah, we're approaching the point where you can own passive real estate rental income in a very easy way.
There's someone here.
Someone over here?
What's DeFi 2.0?
DeFi 2.0. It's a meme. It's a meme. It is, DeFi 1.0 was, an example of catching this early when I was diving around Twitter. I'm like, hey, this token called Lend, which eventually turned into Aave, right? Catching these things really early allows you to ride the mean, you ride the spread of that. Aave is Aave, BlockFi, Celsius. I see those as very large institutional players, and I think that area, that part of town, is going to become known as DeFi 1.0. There's a developer, Daniel Isesta, who I mentioned, who is beginning to define himself. He meme speaks very well, so he's very plugged in. He has a frog nation of investors, and he's programming what a digital central bank would look like if it were to be designed in a decentralized way. And it adds a few extra spicy kind of features to DeFi 1.0. Not only can you stake your tokens, but then you can use the state's tokens as collateral for leverage. You can start playing like a central bank. So you're no longer just, with the power of a bank in your pocket, you're with the power of a central bank. So you can start using leverage. So that's called liquid staking. You're able to use that. You're able to. He's developed not only like a marketplace, but he's also developed a decentralized stablecoin. A stablecoin is something that is that allows you to mitigate a bit of this volatility that we see as we're like, what is happening? What do we believe in? Right? The stablecoin allows us to say, okay, no, the dollar. We all believe the same thing about the dollar, right? Yeah, okay. Let's keep our profits in the stablecoin. They've recreated there's a few cryptos that are recreating the function of that, right? The stability of a dollar. And some of them say that they have $80 billion in a vault of real cash or in their accounts. Some of them are a bit more decentralized, like UST. But Daniel Isesta has developed one called MIM, and it's literally magic internet money. So that's something that's being pegged in his ecosystem. It is beyond, like, when you go down these rabbit holes, at some point you're gonna have to figure out who do you believe in, and it's about picking the jockey in that case. So I'm following a jockey who is very deep in DeFi 2.0 as he kind of builds out part of that ecosystem. I think it's the next hype cycle after DeFi 1.0.
What was the name of the jockey?
Daniel Isesta.
How do you spell Sesta?
Yeah, Sesta. Daniel Sesta. Very interesting fellow. He is plugged into deep in the degen world. Degenerate being, screw the old system, let's create a new decentralized system.
Can you talk about ICE for a bit?
ICE. Again, that's deeper in that rabbit hole. I'm gonna let Daniel Sesta talk about it. Yeah. Follow me on Twitter if you want to continue these conversations in a collective way. Sam Miller Life. That's where the best place to follow Daniel Isesta is as well.
I've got a question about HEX. Do you think it will hit $1 this year? And why do you think it crashed 50%? I know obviously it's come back up. What do you think is behind it? Was it part of the value?
I think the upcoming Pulse chain is unknown territory for that ecosystem. Hex is an ERC20 token on the Ethereum blockchain. The community is fed up with gas fees. They've replicated a new proof of stake blockchain, which is called the Pulse chain. That is also going to be available if you missed the launch. It'll be available soon. But because the Hex token is so useful,